Hello. Welcome back to another edition of the afternoon commute. I never actually said that. I don't think I've ever mentioned, because I actually originally called this driving to the hole. And then I was like, I don't know, is that sexual? Because I work at a golf course, and I was talking about basketball. But the problem is I'm never driving to work. I'm always on the way home from work, because it's dark when I leave, and it's not ideal for shooting video. So now it's the afternoon commute. I made a Gmail and everything. It's drivingtothehole@gmail.com. Feel free to email me anything, whatever. I don't care. I don't think I haven't checked in a while, but hey, I'll check it if you email me. Please hit me up at Gmail. No one ever says that. It's always like, comment, subscribe, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Freaking Gmail, man. Like Google Plus. Used to have, like, you could message people on Google. I don't think anyone does that anymore. That was like a weird, like, when I was in middle school, like, version of like AIM, Instant Messenger, whatever. Through Google. It was weird. You could see when people were active and everything. I had a lot of great conversations. I don't know if those were ever saved. I don't know how I'm going to segue this into the Minnesota Timberwolves, but that's how I'm going to do it. Minnesota has a problem, and it's not a lack of talent. It's not even really lack of trying. It's kind of just like identity. And I've said this multiple times, but I think in any sport, not even sport, we'll go even broader. Anytime you're putting a team together, business, you're like group project. I don't know if that's actually gonna work. Maybe group project. But anytime maybe even more, two people, if you have more than two people in a relationship, even romantically, what you need is to have an identity. What are you? What are we? You know, that's why that's such a common question, because people are searching for, like, what is our relationship? How are we related? Not in like a familial way in terms of romance, obviously, but in terms of like knowing what we are, where we're going, what we're good at, what we're bad at, what we need to address. And I don't know if, like, Minnesota, pretty much for as long as I've followed basketball, has fallen into the category of just like unable to identify. It's like a UFT, unidentified. Well, it's not flying. UTI, unidentifiable team, just a UT. Although unidentified, you could split that into UIT. What are the Timberwolves, man? Like, I don't know. Because we got D'Angelo Russell, we have Anthony Edwards, we have Karl Anthony Towns, newly acquired Taurean Prince, Patrick Beverley, Jared Vanderbilt. I don't know how it all fits. I don't mind. I think Patrick Beverley could be cool as, like, he's actually going to have maybe a more prominent role on kind of a less talented roster than the Clippers, obviously, and maybe take some guys under his wing. That'd be cool. You know, I think it makes sense. Taurean Prince, sure, you know, get out of the Rubio contract, I guess. Really giving the keys to D'Lo, and Edwards to kind of handle, you know, ball handling, facilitating, stuff like that. And then, like, after that, you know, it's just really hard to say, because on paper we have a pretty offensively minded team, but it's just no one can stay healthy. Like, D'Angelo and Cat have barely played together, so maybe this is finally, you get both of them healthy. And like, they traded Jarrett Culver, like that was a missed first round pick. Which that, like, when you're a rebuilding team and you miss on like a top 10 guy like that badly, where you just traded him away for fucking Patrick Beverly. Jesus, I don't know, I just had like a blank there. I'm running on like 4 hours of sleep. Yeah, so when you're trading like and it's not even like that like long ago drafted, like he's not been around very long and he's gone already. Never a good sign. Never good indicator of a healthy, successful franchise. And then they lost their pick this year. So I was like panicking, trying to think of like, oh shit, who is their newest draft pick? And they did not have one because it went to the Warriors. So that sucks. And that trade, you get rid of Wiggins and you get D'Lo. Nothing like has not paid off because D'Lo hasn't been able to stay on the court. So an accumulation of bad draft picks and trades, that's gonna hurt you. And a team like Minnesota, free agency's not, they're not gonna be the move unless you overpay people or you get some like really good value deals and you're able to develop guys. And like again, they have generational talent come through there. KG, Kevin Love, Karl Anthony Towns, and they all, well, we don't know about Cat, but Kevin Love, KG win rings after leaving Minnesota. I mean, depending on if Cat decided to leave and where he went, I mean, he could obviously do the exact same thing at some point if he gets sick of it. I think we forget how good he can be. Can shoot from like all levels. Good rebounder, pretty solid shot blocker. Does everything pretty damn well. He's just been hidden in Minnesota at the basement of the West for pretty much his entire career. And I don't hate the idea of Ben Simmons joining this team. Daryl Morey probably doesn't love the idea. I've mentioned Malik Beasley. He's good at basketball. He had the weird thing go on this off season, and then serving a suspension. Very solid wing player. Could he be offered in a Ben Simmons deal? Maybe. I mean, he's kind of someone that probably could help the Sixers right away. And listen, I honestly don't hate a D'Lo for Ben Simmons something or other. It's just a matter of health, first of all, as always. But if the Sixers felt like D'Angelo could like do things, it's weird because really, like, I don't know, like, really what the public opinion is on D'Angelo Russell at this point. He's just kind of been out of the news for so long because he hasn't done anything. He was really good. He was very good. And if he went back to that on a Sixers team that needs a point guard that can shoot and create shots and pick and roll, stuff like that, I mean, who's to say that wouldn't actually make them better and just be a better fit overall for that Sixers, starting five? Whether, Daryl Morey would definitely have to ask for more if you're looking at a Russell Beasley. Like, I don't know who else you throw in there at that point. Maybe picks, if they even have. I don't even think the Timberwolves, who knows what their situation is with picks. So I don't hate that for either team. I think the Timberwolves, if you bring Ben Simmons on board, that's some defense. You put him in Cat, I mean, you have a crazy amount of length. And maybe the Timberwolves, blow up whatever your rest of your cap spaces, and just, if you committed to Cat and Ben Simmons, Cat can shoot from the center position, so that's good. You get a couple of 3-and-D guys, maybe like a stretch 4, and you try and make the longest possible lineup that's ever been put on an NBA basketball court. And length is good generally in the National Basketball Association. So if you have two kind of franchise cornerstones in Karl Anthony Towns and Ben Simmons, playing together, you know, that could be getting somewhere. And there's your, Jesus, I wasn't even turning. And there's your identity. You know, you have a sense of, you know, you have a kind of defensive mindset. I think for a team like Minnesota, oh my God, the phone is slippery today. For Minnesota, like, I think grit and grind, you should just, like, it works for Memphis, it worked for Utah. I think it works for these small market teams because, like, those players aren't the flashiest. They're not going to ask for a ton of money. Like, I think if the Timberwolves adopted that kind of identity, I think, and they tried it with that. They actually tried it with Tibbs. I'm not really sure what happened with that. Like, that whole thing imploded with Jimmy Butler, which was like they were trying to do like that could have been the Knicks. Like, it's Tibbs, very talented roster with Karl Anthony Towns, Jimmy Butler, just like weird things. Weird things there. Maybe it's like and Jimmy didn't work from like a chemistry standpoint on and off the court. But I'd like to see him get back to that, because we know Ant Edwards. We don't know what his ceiling is. We know he can score some. We know he's a crazy good athlete. Whether I don't think you trade him. I think of anyone on the roster, D'Angelo's probably the guy you move. Just because you have the offense, man. Like Ant Edwards and Karl Anthony, the Anthonys, can take care of that. So you bring in Ben Simmons. You're going to have Patrick Beverley. I mean, there's no person that personifies grit and grind better than Patrick Beverley. You know, Taurean Prince is a decent defender. And you know, you start to build something because I said before, like Ben Simmons is a guy you build a team around. And is not someone that you can really just plug into any lineup and make it work. And the Timberwolves kind of are at like a crossroads where they could, like, they have some flexibility when I don't think there's expectations anywhere coming in. So it's like, well, let's see what we can do this year to build upon, because it's hard to do like a 180. So I think you try and lay a foundation this year. You look at, you know, who's available, who can kind of change the culture in Minnesota, and then you go after the people that fit within it. You know, that's how it works. You get players that you're you know, top tier players. They establish the culture, they establish, you know, the play style, and then as a general manager you have to find guys that fit within that. That's what Minnesota needs to do. Coming from a guy who works at a golf course, I am definitely the authority on this, and Minnesota, if you're listening, just do that. You know, how hard can it be to just be good in the NBA? So that's what I got. Feel free to disagree with me, and let me know how you feel about these Timberwolves. Be curious to see how it all works together. If everyone can stay healthy, I'd like to, you know, I think this will be a fun team to watch. With that said, you know, take it easy, guys. Take care of yourselves. And I'll see you next time.